those of you in person.
Ready?
I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We have a roll call.
Melissa Bilka. Here. Catherine D'Angelo. Sarah Lightfall.
Here.
Lily Johnson.
Here.
Mark King.
Here.
Elijah Leather.
Here.
Mark Silverman.
Here.
Squeeze.
Yeah.
Randall Wallace. You have a form.
Thank you. Okay, the agenda was on OneDrive, and also you've got a hard copy.
Marty, Randall just joined, so you can add him to the,
Great.
Thank you.
Yeah, take a motion for the approval of the agenda. Moved. Second. It's moved and seconded that we approve the agenda. All in favor? Any discussions? All in favor? Aye, say aye. Aye, opposed.
Aye.
Motion carries. We have, take a motion for the approval of the minutes. Moved. Second. And second, we approve the minutes. Any discussion? The only thing I saw is a Mr. Morris in there. I think that meant.
Hello.
All in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. We have any visitors? I don't think we don't think so. So we have no public comments.
we've lost Mr. Pulowski. I'm not sure where he is these days.
Maybe he's in.
Graduation finals.
I'm sure he misses us.
He's the public. I think he's. Okay, we have committee reports. We begin with
Well, it's fresh in your mind.
Agency Coordination Committee. Formally packed.
Yes, we had, yes, we had a meeting this morning, service committee, and we discussed some of the routes that we had. There weren't any big changes to that. One of the big things we had is we started summer service, but that was just yesterday, so we won't know until at least a couple of weeks from now or a month from now what the status is of that. But we did have a good discussion on band pools, and Ms. Bilka has mentioned that we had 3 band pools in service now. We had a fairly good discussion on that. They just started recently. Listen, would you like to say anything about that? Or you said it all?
I was like, is there anybody new in the room from earlier? What I say? We're excited about this opportunity to get some participation in some of the outer lying areas of the communities to allow individuals to have reliable transportation, which is what a lot of employers are struggling with. And it's been a long time, but again, we're very excited about it. We have 3 that are rolling and 1 that is probably within the next 7 days for another property. So we've gained an associate from the van pools already, so we hope to see that continue to happen, of course, and then be able to retain associates over time. So as they actually have reliable transportation, that's very, very convenient for them.
How much does a ride?
Well, the way we set ours up was a little bit less, I think, than if I were to do it again that we would do, but we did that on purpose to have it as an introductory year this year. So depending on where they're located, it would be between $25 to $30 per week per rider. So there's that fluctuation of expense and fuel. If they live further out, then they're paying $30 a week, and if they're closer, they're paying $25 a week.
And you're taking it out of their like automatic deduction?
Yeah.
Is there some kind of a tax break for that?
There is.
Just pre-tax on.
either 132, the IRS 132 or 125. Those are the two numbers I was talking in my head. I can't remember which one.
So they're
That
not,
allows people to be, that are part of the van pool to have that money taken out every time.
well, that's a benefit.
The one that's going already, what area does that serve?
There's King Street. There's one out of Hemingway. And there is one that is like Lane, that area. So it's all like the similar areas. And then I think there's two more potentials, one coming out of Conway and one coming out of Timber City. So
How are they getting to work?
a variety of ways. They were either carpooling with somebody else and now they're just expanded their friend pool, or they were taking the bus, or what a lot of people had done is changed to Uber. Really expensive.
That's crazy.
stuff.
Yeah.
So that was surprising. So obviously the benefit to them was, really saving a lot of money, not having to drive their or the convenience of not having to take a bus, or the expense of not taking an Uber. And then they're able to spend less time on the road. Because if they were taking the bus, they were spending their time on and then changing at the station and so forth. So far they love it. And they have new vehicles, so they're not worried about their vehicle breaking down or having that additional expense. A lot of our associates have one vehicle households. So where they weren't thinking about, well, I have a car. We're like, well, now you can leave your car at home. So your spouse or children or, whoever else may need to use that vehicle now have that available versus you taking that to drive in and then having it all day.
And what do the vehicles look like? How are they marked? It's Coast or it's Enterprise or is it or?
They have a Commute with Enterprise logo on the front door, and then on the back fenders, there's a Coast RTA and Walkable Foundation logo on there, which we're still having to take a look at what's right there. So we had reduce the size of the Commute with Enterprise logo, increase the size of the Coast RTA and Walkable Foundation, and then what we're trying is adding a magnet to the side of the vehicles that say, like currently the three we have are out of the Breakers Resort. So they're gonna put the Breakers Resort helps me get to work. And then, join the team, or do you need reliable transportation, something along those lines, with a QR code so people can click on that. That'll bring to a tracking sheet that we're doing specifically, so we can watch and say, did that person get interviewed, hired? Now they can go into a vehicle.
Are you interacting with Enterprise like regularly or sometimes?
Well, yeah, we're pretty much attached at the hip right now.
Yeah.
Picture, but it's not a great one. The idea of it long-term was not to have a lot of involvement because it's really a Coast RTA and Community Enterprise program. And we don't have the resources to have somebody on our team be that full-time person, but once we get it up and going, I'll be out of it even more. We'll kind of manage between Community Enterprise and the locations directly. We've already had a participant drop off, but they immediately found somebody to put in that van pool, so that worked out great.
Why'd they drop
It's really
off?
just been up to them to manage.
They dropped out of the van pool or dropped out of working for you?
Yeah, they left the area altogether. Clarifying question.
Thank you for all your effort.
Hey,
Started.
this has been turnkey. You guys mentioned to me in the past saying you feel like it was gonna be turnkey, but I had nothing to do with all that.
She did.
So, she did it. But I mean, an enterprise did it. So I mean, they're the ones that are supposed to kind of work through all that. And,
Yeah, but if she's doing it, how are they working through it?
Well,
well.
I think from an
she's finding
employer standpoint,
participants.
it's new to the area in general.
Yeah.
So we've been on the phone talking to individuals in Florida who have van pools in the same industry that we're in. And I probably am a little more hands-on than I would typically be because I'm very protective of what happens with our associates. And then understanding that how it impacts the business is another piece, right? And an employer has to play the balance between the two. And what I mean by that is Enterprise Commute with Enterprise is ready. All they need are 4 participants to start a van pool and 1 driver. In my business, we're open 7 days a week, 24 hours a day. I was like, you have to have 2 drivers to keep that van pool going during that time. And you should have at least 6 people in that van pool because the properties are picking up the rest of the expense. Given total expense from Commute with Enterprise, the great gift of the subsidiary through Coast RTA, but then the properties are picking up the rest of the expense minus what the associates are paying, which to them is really, it's not that much. I mean, when they're coming in from these outer areas, they're paying fuel in 2 days of what it costs them to be in the van pool over a week.
And that's what we talked about during the committee meeting a little bit, is that employer expense is something that we want to kind of keep an eye on. And one of the reasons why Melissa's are so expensive is these vehicles are going a really long way every day. So there's a lot of fuel costs, there's a lot of, maintenance type costs that they're paying for. So hopefully that will go down some. And then certainly the introduction of shorter van pools will help, at least offset the per unit cost.
But when we started talking about this, I thought that they picked up everything. The company. No?
No, we're paying $650 to $750 per month.
Right.
The riders themselves are paying $30 a week.
Right, but also where they're going to, the hotel or wherever, they're paying.
They're paying,
They are,
yes.
and I didn't think they were supposed to be paying.
You
that the way-
could set up,
Was that the way it was set up or not?
no,
No,
not
Oh,
for
okay,
us.
No.
all right.
We always anticipated there would be an expense from the very beginning. We chose what the associate deduction would be
Okay.
because of, there could be a different group, like if there was all white collar, medical, something along those lines. They, between themselves, may pay for that whole thing. Our associates just can't afford to. And we saw it as a benefit going in order to attract and retain associates. So we took that route.
Nationally, Vanpool has been more of a white collar type of application where they're trying to avoid traffic or parking costs or something like that. And they typically do pay for the entire cost of it, less, some public subsidy. This is a blue collar application, so it really
They're
needs.
not paying $40 a day for the park in New York City.
Right, and it needs employer participation. Thank you, Melissa, though.
Yeah, thank you. Melissa.
Thank you. You're really cool to get us off the ground, so it's awesome.
And the glory of what Melissa's done here, she's put together these 3 different manholes, not 1, 3. And of course, a little more complicated with the associates that she works with. So the lessons learned we've had from this, especially with staff and working that ongoing, we have a single full with one city, it's going to be enormous. It's just the benefits are just. So thank you very much. I appreciate it.
That was the last point of what I was going to say. I learned a lot of lessons along the way that now I can share with other employers to look at, A, B, and C, and you have to consider this. That will help them through it much easier, and I think make people, it's a positive experience. So we met with Kingston Resort 2, was very interested in it, and talked to a couple of others as well, kind of on the side. So it's a timing thing. Like, we were going so fast that we decided to put the brakes on for a minute and held this 4th one that's ready to go for June. Because I was like, we need to figure out. It was so slow. And then I was like, I don't know if this is going to work. And then it went really fast all at once. I was like, we need to slow down and make sure we're communicating between the employer and Commute with Enterprise. Everybody's accounted for, their payroll deductions are in. When are we doing the delivery? There are details that have to happen in there that we can now share with.
It'd be nice to actually see a bill.
Well,
from
you're
them.
doing a good job with you're going in with the hotel. I know in North Myrtle Beach, I know Worley said he didn't care how they got there. If they didn't get there, they'll hire somebody else.
Oh.
And that was years ago. Yeah, I've heard things about different things.
At one point, we talked about buying our own bus and going to all these different areas, which isn't viable for an employer to do, so we're excited about it.
That's great.
Thank you very much. We also went on and we talked about some information only, but for the assessment of the paratransit. Basically, we had issues that Brian had talked about. You may talk about it in the general managers.
Yeah,
Or shall we?
well, no, I'll just really quickly, it's, bottom line is in paratransit, we're burning up vehicles and really busy and, you know, we're just now sort of, scratching the surface on the statistics to sort of support that. And I think it's gonna have an impact long-term on, you know, how many vehicles we have, you know, in our fleet for that service. And there's just, you know, there are some few things that we're gonna continue looking at from a committee perspective.
Right, I appreciate that. We also have a big update, and on a big update, we have a resolution here. We have a transit asset management document that has to be done before we can apply for other funding. And it's also part, I believe it might be part of the triangle review also.
It is.
We discussed that, and I would like to take this time to make the motion to accept 2024-05-07. And
We have a motion, we have a second.
made the motion.
Okay, any discussion? I'm gonna let Brian do a little discussion, or anybody else as well.
So this is called a TAM plan, Transit Asset Management Plan. It's a requirement of FTA. Our last one is from the FY19, FY20 timeframe, right before COVID. This was developed by Kimley Horn as part of the organizational plan work that they're doing. It provides an inventory of all our assets. Obviously, the ones that FTA is mostly concerned about are the ones they have equity in. There's a condition rating, establishes goals for, you know, when we move assets out of useful life. And then you generate a financially constrained replacement schedule. And so this is something that needs to go to the GSAT's policy committee. It has to be approved by the MPO. And as Dr. Twig mentioned, this is just in time for triennial, which is coming up in June. And we talked about that too. But this is just something I need approved by the board, and I'll answer any questions.
Any questions for Brian or any more discussion about this? As a required thing, it was in the packet, in the OneDrive package, it's about 30 pages long. If anybody read it, I'm not gonna ask for a show of hands or anything, but I did not read it, so. But do you want to read the motion? Read the,
So Waccamaw Regional Transportation Authority Resolution Number May 2024-03, acceptance of the Waccamaw RTA Transit Asset Management Plan for FY24.
okay, any more discussion? Not, then all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
That concludes my report.
I have just one quick question. Ron mentioned that the fare, the tap fares went up from about 16, but it's been a long time to 20. So do you have any idea what caused that, or what we can do to make it go more?
Get better. Let's put that on the next service packet committee. I have not looked at it. You know, it just takes time sometimes for people to realize how easy it is and that we're not cheating them out of money. And so,
Yeah.
and things are getting busy out there. So it's, you know, it's also part of, and that percentage, I didn't actually do the math yet. So but we are probably bridging close to 20% if they were at that number.
We need to stress to people, if they're changing buses to go to work or wherever they want, they're going to save money using tap. 50 cents at least.
Yes, we are ready for a new campaign to push it. I've been kind of waiting for the barcoded tickets. That's a bigger issue right now. We have to keep ordering new business cards without any barcode on them. People are crawling out of the woodwork for them, but I would,
Why does that
If
take
those
so
people-
long? Why doesn't it take just
it's,
5 minutes?
it's an architectural issue. They're just trying to, they're trying to develop so that it works for other clients, not just us. It's probably the best answer to that question, and I appreciate that. But I talked to them this past week. They were with me and Erie, so we spent a lot of time trying to work that. Another issue is we've had some downed validators. The only reason why we haven't really had any issues with services because we're removing them out of a down bus and putting them on a live bus. And it's my understanding that the repaired ones are back in our possession, so that they kind of got behind on doing repairs, crack screens, you know, a litany of different issues with the validators.
Well, I take the bus fairly regularly, not real often, but I usually go during the hours when I'm free.
Oh, yeah.
But last week, or maybe I forget what day, I went earlier. I think it was up earlier, and there was my credit card bill, $1.
There you go.
All right, I'm glad to pay this dollar.
Glad somebody is.
I think a lot of people are. I think if the people know it's a good deal. I don't hear complaints about pricing at all. Finance committee.
So, also had a meeting, earlier today. We had 4 or 5 major points on overall budget, was pretty good in balance. We did have some questions on variances per line item. There was obviously a lot of red. Whether or not that's gonna mean a budget revision later on. But overall, in pretty much on target for the overall budget. And what's it, like 2%?
2% right now.
Really good there. Some of the main concerns that we had, obviously around some of the expense items and some of the growing expenses, whether or not at any point this year catch up, which a couple of them would. But also liquidity and cash balance. Money in the bank to make some of those coming up, particularly in July. So I guess led us to question of credit. Go after something. Sorry.
Yeah, I just wanted to just mention, just say to everybody that we talked quite a long time about whether or not we would have a resolution for a line of credit. How much it would be. Well, actually, we ended that with,
We have a policy.
we have a policy, yeah.
I think if I could interject, I mean, the issue is cash requirements, cash management. And every year we have this hiatus from getting payments from SCDOT on the rural side of the program. And that's true this year as well. And then we've kind of gotten double damage because the state does not want to allow us to use our 2-for-1 funding, which was a trade of state mass transit funds for federal funds for operating expenses. They want to use that for capital. And so that was a $450,000 hit to the budget revenue wise. And I think we can bridge that through some other means, but it just puts a little bit more pressure on the fact that we're not going to get a check from the state from early June to late July, early August. So that there's like 60 days to cover there. And then we also have the same issue this year on 5307. And so we're in the middle of getting a grant squared away for 5307, which is the urban side. But we're looking at, not getting any assistance for operating between, for May and June expenses. And so until mid-July at the earliest. And so we've been discussing the possibility of doing some sort of line of credit, so borrowing some money in anticipation of those new grants. And the policy basically states that we can borrow up to $250,000 it has to be paid off within 90 days. And obviously I've been directed to not do it unless I absolutely have to.
Okay, so just to explain that people who weren't here, there's a cash flow problem, which is not new, but it's exacerbated by this $450,000. 2017 policy gives the chair, it gives the GM the ability to take a $250,000 loan with up to $250,000 repaid in 90 days. But we talked about before doing any loans, we would use what we have in reserve, which is about $100,000. Although that's a problem as well, because we really need to have, by our funding agreement, we need to have $400,000 in there by next September, a year from September. So we would use that money that's in the reserve now, $100,000. Brian would ask the county for $300,000, which they're holding up ours in escrow because of a legal battle that does not involve us, it involves others. But our money's in that.
And those are road use fees.
Those are road use fees that should be ours. They agree that they're ours, but they're in escrow now. And that now Brian, as a result of this policy, can and may go out for a $250,000 loan to bridge this gap. Is that right?
Yes.
So we do not need a resolution on this. But this is all for information. And if Brian goes and gets this loan, he will notify the board. That's not in the resolution, but I know he will.
But it's in the policy.
But it's in the policy, yeah. And why don't you send us a policy piece?
Okay, I'll send it. Or Marty will.
Yeah. Okay, any discussion on this? I know it's not great news that we are in this kind of bind. But we are, and I think Brian doesn't like to call this a business. He calls it an authority, which it is. But I think most businesses and probably authorities use loans at times. Anybody else?
I commend Marty for finding a policy so we didn't have to
Yeah.
draft and apply a resolution.
Marty on the spot.
Yeah.
Only thing I'll say is that 250 may be insufficient. So I don't know whether the overall loan is to the extent of the collateral or if it's stipulated. I'm just saying.
You can get more than 250, you just have to come back for the resolution.
But you're still not capped. I don't know, whatever. I'm just saying.
I'm pretty confident this is going to get us through to July.
Yeah, I mean, I
So
think
we'll have
probably
another
will, but-
audience with these guys before we need.
Yeah.
As long as it's understood that it could, overall, the loan balance could exceed 250, is what I'm saying.
Okay,
Is that a different way of putting it? I could see that loan balance exceeding 250 really.
Well,
It's all I want to put out there. I mean, think about adding one sentence that either capped at the,
You come back and you get a resolution if you more than 250.
Right.
That's in the
But
policy.
what the policy does is it takes the pressure off of having no meeting in June and needing this before July.
Okay. I mean, as long as he can come back and, to the extent where we need it, borrow it. I'm just throwing that out there. It isn't.
Well, what does it say that?
It is.
If it goes over 250, there's a,
There's a line in there for that.
yeah. If it's over 250.
And so what does the line say that we can go back again, or does he have to pay the first one back?
It doesn't say that.
Board will do a resolution, authorize more than 250. What it says, I'm pretty sure it is.
do you want me to pull it up or?
That's fine. That's fine. I just.
Yeah, let other people who are not here for the committee meetings have a look. I mean, like I was saying, I might be more fiscally conservative than some people.
And you're a Democrat.
Well, I'm socially liberal.
Okay.
I think bottom line is we're going to try to bridge the gap without doing this. And so I will have a conversation with the county about the the funds held in escrow. We'll certainly use, a good chunk of what we have in the bank if we need to before we get to this. And cash requirements, right now there's an $80,000 red amount there for payroll, that first payroll in July that, depending on what happens with road use fees, and, there's a path to cover that without having to do anything. So we'll see how that goes.
And I think this policy covers a lot of the discussion that we had in a meeting relating to what's backing this and how we know it's going to be paid. So this talks about it has to be secured using grant revenues or some
And
type of.
it has a amount of time that has to be paid off,
Yeah.
which keeps it from becoming evergreen.
Melissa and Kitty, we're not here. Can you read that, or do you want to read it, or you want?
I have it right here.
Okay. Okay. All right, so then that is an issue that we've solved.
So there are some resolutions that I need coming out of finance committee,
Okay, can you read?
and I'll read them. First
one at a
off
time?
is,
Let's vote on one at a time.
first of all, part of the cash issues are having to wait until the July 1st start on our 15-311 contract. So we go through July, we bill it in August, we don't see the proceeds until September. That, with this resolution and cooperation with the SCDOT, that all moves up to June 1st. So that means our first check will be in early August as opposed to early September. Hopefully that will help. But this is Waccamaw Regional Transportation Authority Resolution number May 2024-04, authorization to file an FY 24-25 5311 and SMTF grant application. And I'll say one other thing is that the SMTF associated with this contract
SMTF.
is state mass transit funds. So these are dollars that are coming from state coffers, are about 80,000 higher than what they would have been because of the 2-for-1 deal that we did in the past. So it's close to 300,000 in SMTF, which also will help cash flow because we can bill more of the non-federal match to the state for these first few months of operation. So,
Hey, Brian, if I could,
Yes.
is that resolution in the packet or can you put it on the screen?
it is in the packet. And God knows what page it's on. I paginated it, but
At the end.
hang on a minute. I have to get past the TAM tome.
Yeah,
That'll be all right.
Yeah, right.
yeah. It was really good too. It's on
35.
page 35.
So 35. And so
Yes,
if
got it.
I
Thank you.
attached the numbers to it, like this is our letter basically stating what we're getting, and there's a little nice little table here. So Waccamaw, it's 1,026,000, which didn't move too much, but we would have gotten 201,000. But because of the 2-for-1 deal, we got an additional 80,000. So 280,000 in SMTF, which is higher than what we've gotten in the past. So quite a bit higher. And so the budget hit associated with not being able to use 2-for-1 dollars for operating is somewhat offset, not completely, by virtue of being able to bill another month under this grant. Because we'll be able to bill June as well as July, August, and September.
All right, do we have a motion to accept resolution May 2024-04?
I could move.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. Any discussion? All right, hearing none. All those in favor, please say aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. We have another resolution.
So now we have Waccamaw Regional Transportation Authority Resolution number May 2024-05. This is authorizing me to submit a grant for a new 5307, the urban side. We just addressed rural, now we're doing urban. That would begin with operating expenses on June 1st and PM expenses on September 30th. I'm sorry, October 1st of this year. It's essentially our new operating grant to start for next fiscal year, but it includes a portion of the funds for this fiscal year. So this was also part of the budget. There's about 500,000 in the budget, in the revised budget related to this. We could probably pull over a little bit more also to cover the loss of the 2-for-$1 dollars.
So in this one, are we asking for FY25 money in June of 24?
We're at this, these are FY24 $5307 dollars. So they're eligible to use in 24 or 25. Typically, we spend them a year late, but last year we did this, and I'll tell you now, we're going to do it again next year.
Okay. Do I have a motion for resolution May 24-05?
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Is there any discussion?
I just want to say that the urbanized formula went from like 2.1, 2.2 last year to 2.9 this year. And this is a culmination of finally incorporating census information into the allocation. So it's about a 30% increase because our urbanized area increased in population, but it actually decreased in geographic size. So that was a really big bump for us.
Any other discussion on May 24-05? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Okay, we have another resolution.
One last resolution. Waccamaw Regional Transportation Authority Resolution number May 2024-06. Authorization to file FY24-25 5339 grant applications. 5339 is bus and bus facilities funding from FTA. It can come in multiple forms, and it can come as discretionary dollars, which is like what we're applying for the maintenance facility. It can come in formula dollars, which we get on an annual basis. And then it can come from SCDOT through a split letter, which I'll talk about in a second. This grant is going to accomplish two things. One, we're utilizing some 5339 formula dollars. These are dollars that come to the urbanized area, just like the 5307 dollars do for capital that we're going to purchase vehicles with. We're utilizing about $90,000 in FY21, I think $21 that are lapsing. So these need to get obligated in a grant so we can spend them down or they go back to FTA. The second part of this is in my discussions with the state, you guys may recall, I was hoping that the state would be able to do the grant to pull down the Grissom Parkway parcel. Their bandwidth is probably worse than mine at this point. And I guess it's going to have to be because I'm now going to be the one doing the grant. But they sent us a split letter for $3.5 million in 5339 dollars that are being flexed to the urban side so that we can use them. This is $3.5 million of the $6 million that they have in a facilities plan that they got through commission last March.
It's still there, is that they're splitting the grant?
And it's really based on lapsing. They can't give it to me until the funds start to lapse. And so that's why they're waiting until now. And they only have 3.5 million of this pot lapsing. They can't do the other 2.5 million until next year. Okay. And then another port, and those are 5339 rural fund being flexed to 5339 rural. You can't use them until after July 1st.
Flexing is changing.
Flexing is changing the color of the money for all intents and purposes. Our original facilities development plan was $800,000 we got from GSATs. That was Surface Transportation Program dollars under federal highway that got flexed to 5307 FTA. That doesn't happen very often. Then there's another second slug of money in the split letter of $995,812. This is our 2-for-1. So these are 5339 small urban dollars being flexed to urban dollars. That essentially equates to twice our state mass transit funds over the next 3 years that we use to match the urban grant. I sit there and laugh while I'm talking about all this because I know it just glazes people over.
But this is the money that that we're missing from operating.
From operating, that I couldn't use for operating, but now they've made them available. This is, it's actually good that they're moving over to this because our appraisal for the property has gone from in the neighborhood of 3.7 million to 4.3 million. So we've had an increase in the appraisal for the property acquisition. That's primarily because of comps, but also we have increased the amount of usable space on the parcel because the wetlands have been reduced. The bottom line, though, is that we now have $4.495 million that will be in place sometime before September 30th. As soon as this grant is executed, I will be able to pull the trigger on our acquisition of the parcel. It is going to be commingled with $875,000 from the county, Horry County, and $750,000 from the city of Myrtle Beach to pull down the whole parcel. There will be money left over to do maybe some site prep work, some more engineering and design, something like that, but we'll worry about that once we figure out what the final purchase price is of the parcel.
So this $450,000, that's, we're taking a hit from that. We're so concerned now with a loan and whatnot. The upside is that we've got a lot of extra capital money for the facility.
Right, that's half of that amount. So they're making the full amount of those 2-for-1 dollars available to us for this.
So it's almost $1 million.
Right at it.
When will we be closing the Ivory Wilson Center in relation to acquiring this property?
I don't know that I could predict that at this point. It
wasn't May the 4th.
Yeah, it was a May transition to do something else on a temporary basis, but the city has slowed down digging up the roads down there. So there's an outside chance we could build the new facility prior to having to close.
Temporary facility out front on the property.
Yes, sir.
That's where I was coming from.
And so, assuming a good vote in November, it's distinctly possible that we could use the second 2.5 million that's available from that 6 million and local funds to build Myrtle Beach Transit Center sooner than later. So this resolution gives me, I can go apply for the grant. This will get attached to the grant.
I'll take a motion for resolution to pass resolution May 24-06. Have a motion.
So moved.
Second. It's moved and seconded. Is there any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Thank you very much.
Okay. I have one
Busy finance committee.
I have one more thing for finance committee that I just want to mention. We talked in the finance committee about our FY25 budget that needs to be passed by July 31st. So the plan is to get together with the finance committee in July and either do a continuing budget, new budget, or the new budget would not be much different than the old budget, even if we did new. So it's not a whole new job that has to be done. And the reason that we would do continuing is because the RIDE 4 vote in November would change our budget going forward after anyway. So just know that if you want to be involved in the budget discussions, if there are discussions, which I think there will be, come to the July board meeting, committee meetings. And I don't know if they're scheduled yet. They'll probably be the week before.
Yeah, I think it's 24th.
24th, and then the 31st will be the
Yep.
board meeting. All right. Anything else for finance?
Was that enough?
It's never enough. Compensation Committee, I will say one more time that we're doing evaluations of Brian's evaluation coming this fall. You'll hear from Daryl.
Brian's gonna have his accomplishments done by 31 July.
By July 31st, and Brian will have his accomplishments and we can look at those. Ad hoc committees. Okay, no ad hoc committee business. Old business. Okay, now, new business. Don't try raising hands here. I'm not gonna be even looking. I couldn't see if I did. So, give me a shout, new business. Okay, general manager report. You don't have to give me a shout. I know it's coming.
I just have one thing. I just wanted to kind of let you guys know what I've been doing. 2 weeks ago, I went to Task Retreat in Clemson. A lot going on with Task. One of the big things that we spent quite a bit of time on was sort of recasting our mission and vision. I'm going to Columbia on Monday to kind of look at all of the things that we put on our board. We had a facilitated discussion. And so we're looking at, for all intents and purposes, reinventing our organization to accomplish a number of things. One, be able to tangibly be able to tell our members what we're providing them, what benefit is there to joining Task, and really focusing what we want the state legislature to do. And the problem we've had from day one, and certainly the 9 years that I've been part of that organization is, we ask for more money and then they say, well, what would you do with more money? And we all have a different answer to that question. So we've got to try to isolate that. We're planning a rural transit day on July 12th in Greenville. If anyone is interested in going to that, I know AARP is talking about increasing their participation in that, so we might go. It's in Greenville though this year, or the Greenville area. And then our annual conference is going to be held. It's the end of the week of Labor Day, so it's January 5th and September. Here in Myrtle Beach. It's going to be at the convention center. But the big piece of that I want you all to be aware of is I've been talking to Partnership Grand Strand and the Chamber about sponsoring a workforce transportation summit. The Lieutenant Governor has always already agreed to come. Hopeful that we'll get a good amount of our local delegation to the meeting. And I would imagine that's going to be in a time frame where they're going to want to be out in front because they'll be all, election in a couple of months, that thing. But I'm really excited about it. Department of Employment and Workforce is going to be involved. And so it'll, be like a half day of that Friday, just talking about workforce initiatives and, getting the word out about the importance. We'll probably have a conversation about land pool, things like that. So it should be pretty good. That concludes the general manager's report.
I'll add that, if you don't know already, Brian is a past chair of Task and also is a prime mover of Task. And also Task has secured a $500,000 line item in the legislature.
Yeah, and that didn't happen. That didn't come to fruition, unfortunately.
Okay, take it back.
We got into it with our consultant. I'm currently policy committee chair, which does do a lot of the legislative stuff. I don't know, I'm gonna let somebody else do the officer for a while while I try to build a building. So, but yeah, it's a good organization. We're sort of meandering a little bit. So the conversation we had was one of the best I've been a part of. We had a really good facilitator from Clemson, and I feel like we've got sort of a launch pad to kind of really start doing some good things. That was in July. I mean, that was the middle of May, like the 13th, 14th, and 15th.
You know, years ago, our board was very involved with them.
Well,
We went to so many things. We were on buses to go here and there, remember? And everything, and it was really enlightening for all of us, you know. But we haven't had that in the past few years.
well, we've had a few,
But I mean, we haven't gotten together as a board to go.
right. Well, that's something that we might consider this September since it's local.
You know, maybe we should say, you know, this is something that we have to do, you know, it's not, can you get here? We expect you to go here. Because it's a learning.
Didn't you offer transportation this year to go?
We didn't have a conference this fiscal
We had
year.
a reception.
Another reception,
Yeah.
legislative reception. And we made the conscious, it's killing us in the pocketbook right now. We got like $30,000 to our name, talking about cash flows. Because that, you know, that conference is a big moneymaker for the association. But we moved it to September because we didn't want it conflicting with the
I
legislature.
agree with Kitty's comment, though. We as a group.
I do too.
Yes, as a group and say, you know, this is what we expect you at the bus at a certain time and we're going.
You might miss the people who can't be here in person. I mean, they're
Right.
participating. I see the,
Right.
Cases,
And we're getting to the point that we're not really involved. And that's not good. Because I remember years ago, I knew all the different transit systems. I knew who ran them. I had personal contact with them when we went to these different things. I don't have none of that now. Most of them are gone by now, I'm sure. I mean, but we don't have contact with other transit systems.
The comments on their 6th CEO since I've been here.
Pardon me?
The comment, the transit system in Columbia, it's their 6th CEO since I've been here, in my 9-year tenure.
Yeah, well,
Pretty crazy.
well, these other ones were there forever.
Yes.
But they got to the point where they had to retire. You know, and we knew exactly what they were doing. We knew them personally and it was interesting.
you know anything about Barnwell or Newberry?
No.
After your memory now.
Oh, yeah.
some Issues.
Got some issues down there.
Yeah.
Anything else for general manager's report?
No, sir.
Okay, I need a motion to go into executive session for a personnel matter.
Move that we go into executive session for personnel matters.
I second it.
Okay, any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor of going into executive session for a personal matter, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
We get rid of the good of the order so the people leaving want to come back. We finished the agenda.
Yeah, we can do that. Okay, that's a good idea.
Yeah.
Anything for the good of the order.
A plane landed on 501 back.
Oh, my God.
Today?
Are you serious?
Today, yeah. Serious.
Good one.
It was a small plane, yeah.
Anybody
say
Right
that?
over there.
Oh, my God.
A plane was in
I have
All
one
right,
thing.
any announcements? I have an announcement.
I wouldn't go over there.
Hang on a minute.
No problem.
Wait a minute, Ron.
Yeah.
Right forward, Horry County was approved the second reading of that, the meeting on the 4th of June. At the same meeting, if you're interested in that school being built in your neighborhood, it got postponed the 4th. I talked to Lisa Salvatore. It's not in trouble. He had a couple people worried they're gonna build a huge 10,000 people football stadium on the land. No, that's not, they're gonna be an athletic field.
There's a lot of misinformation
Yeah,
about.
that's why he wanted to touch base with his constituents. It's gonna pass.
Yep.
Matter of fact, they voted on it and passed it. Where he said it was time out to bring it back to the floor. So
Yeah.
it's not in danger.
Yep.
I have an announcement.
Another school, by the way.
We need a vice chair. Rob left, I was vice chair, now I moved to chair. We need a vice chair. I'm going to ask for nominations in July. And we'll have a vote in an election in August. So please think about it, and if you need any encouragement, give me a call. Kitty is a past chair. Darrell is the past chair. I guess that's it right now. But I encourage you to think about it. Marvin's the past chair, sorry. Sorry, Marvin's immediate, no, Rob was past chair here. But think about that. We do need to fight a vice chair. It's a lot of fun. You get to sit wherever you want. I changed seats today. And now we already have a motion to go into executive session, so we can begin there.
Okay, and it won't take long. Get you guys in.
And real quick before that, just an FYI for me, I see the next meeting is planned on the 31st of July. I'll actually
Yes,
be
sir.
in Alaska that week. My wife and I will be
Oh.
celebrating our 20th anniversary, so I will not be